not an ideal hand that we've drawn here, because we've drawn ring, so that's useful. However, we would like to see some faction access, and hopefully we get Arakeen, so there's a chance that we draw it. We get to Arakeen, but we don't draw any faction access. We're going to deploy 2 troops here because we might get second in this combat, and possibly first if nobody else decides to deploy. It's our turn, but we're put in an interesting position here. On the road, there's power play, but as you can see, there's also Truthsayer and Freighter Fleet. So I think Truthsayer and Freighter Fleet here is a good option. You could argue Shifting Allegiances is also a valid buy here, because we're allowed to, you know, move from faction to faction in case we lose an alliance. But I think Freighter Fleet and Truthsayer is good, because we've drawn 1 card from our deck. So next turn, our deck is gonna be reshuffled. So meaning on turn 3, as long as we draw the Truthsayer and Freighter Fleet combination, we're actually in a pretty good position to, you know, go up in smuggling and then go down on round 4 and pick up Swordmaster that way. Since nobody challenged us on the last combat, we actually took it down for 2 troops. We have 2 troops in our garrison, so going Hardy Warriors here makes perfect sense. We are threatening to win this combat, and nobody else really has the resources to beat us. We are playing our Sikh allies to, well, and getting ready to get Swordmaster and getting ready to get Dreadnoughts. Nothing really useful to buy for 3 persuasion here. And we want to keep our deck thin because we want to try to see our True Trance and Freighter Fleet combination as much as possible to get maximum value. The only way we lose this combat is if Leto top decks an intrigue or has a sword in hand, in which case he would have to deploy in all 3 troops, all that just to tie us. Based on the fact that he's only put in 1 troop indicates that he has not top decked. unlucky for us that we do not draw the combination of True Trance and Freighter Fleet. However, we do pick up 4 spice on Haga Basin, allowing us to go to Conspire, replenishing our garrison, and also setting up for a round 4 Swordmaster. I used the True Trance ability here because there was a 50% chance that I draw my Freighter Fleet, and I want to make sure that my True Trance and my Freighter Fleet are going to be together when we deck cycle. Again, for 3 persuasion, there is nothing good on this row to buy. Wow, our hand is not too hot here. We've drawn double daggers, so we only have access to green, yellow, and Diplo. We really do not want to be playing our Freighter Fleet, so first we're going to pick up Swordmaster just to see what everybody else is doing, and then we're going to probably play our Diplomacy to Still Suits if we get it. Otherwise, a simple Weld play is fine as well. We do end up getting the Still Suits. We deploy 2 troops here, because if we get second here, then it allows us to at least threaten Great Flag. Wow, and Paul decides to instantly take back the alliance that Red just worked so hard to get. This is amazing because the whole table is fighting each other, and we are just going to be trying to take as many combat victory points as possible. Since we have 2 negotiators, we can easily pick up Disposal Facility for free and trash out a dagger. This is also pretty useful for us because later, if we get 6 persuasion with Freighter Fleet in our hand, we can reveal it, ship, and then trash it, and ship again. Since we've bought Disposal Facility, picking up a Liaison is not a bad idea, because we want to try to get our Persuasion up eventually for a possible Spice with Slow. Lido takes this combat down for very cheap and gets shipping bumps. Pretty useful for him, as he can now retake the alliance back from green. We cash in our shipping bumps. However, taking the faction bump is a difficult decision here. We could either try to chase for the Emperor Alliance, or we could start working on our friendships between Spacing and Bene Gesserit. I think the smart choice here is to go up in Spacing, especially in a game where there's so much faction access going around. Leto has shifting allegiances, Yuna and Paul have been sharing treacheries and power plays this whole game, so holding an alliance is going to be practically impossible. We go to Secrets and start working on our friendships. There's a small chance that we might actually go for the Bene Alliance, because we do have 2 accesses in our deck, but as I said, there is shifting allegiances going around. And with this, it is going to be really difficult to be holding alliances. And the fight for the Spacing Alliances has started. We simply go to Dreadnought and pick up detonation devices because we have 2 Spice and we get a Negotiator with our ring, allowing us to set up for next turn and for future turns after. Nothing too interesting on the row, but we could think about picking up a Missionaria because we do have a True Trance. We would have to get lucky, however. We decide to just pick up a Liaison and start working on our Spiceman slows. DUNE steals the Spacing Alliance back, and this is very good for us because the whole table is fighting each other, allowing us to basically do whatever we want. We actually can go Wealth now and start going for the Emperor Alliance because we know that Leto is probably going to be using his resources to go either up in Spacing or up in Bene Gesserit. And there's the steal yet again. There have been 3 alliance steals in this game so far. In Fremen and now in Spacing. We simply go to Carthag and pick up an Intrigue because there is really no better action that we have. This combat is going to be difficult to win because Leto has over-deployed, and he still has actions behind us. Unfortunate for Green that his Mentat did not come back from last round, so he decided to leave the game. I don't blame him. I would have done the same. Feels very bad because he spent so many resources on trying to win that last combat, so he could have had the Mentat action this round. next round, we should be able to end it as long as we can win the combat and get our Emperor friendship or Emperor alliance. There is a small chance that Yuna does have rapid mobilization, and that would get in the way of us basically winning the combat. Leto picks up Guild Ambassador, however, that is not much of a worry because it is round 6, and at max he gets 1 point off the Guild Ambassador. We have 4 intrigues in our hand, 2 of them being combat intrigue. Cannon turrets being a very good combat intrigue actually, because it allows us to make Yuna retreat her dreadnought. With Bindu suspension, we are allowed to pass our turn, and because of that ability, we can actually be last to act, and that is very good, especially in terms of combat, because we get to see how much we need to deploy. Realistically, there are 2 ways that we can end this game. Either by getting a Spice but Slow, by going High Council and then Research Station, or simply by just getting the Emperor Alliance. That does assume that we are going to be winning this combat and getting 3 points off of it because of our detonation device's ability. Yuna going to secrets does highly indicate that they have rapid mobilization. Otherwise, secrets does not make any sense, because ideally Yuna would want to win this combat, right? We simply go to High Council and start working on our secret forces to deploy as many troops as possible. And our next action is probably going to be Research Station to pick up a Spice and Slow, hopefully, as long as we don't miss. We do hit our Spice and Slow, and we deploy in 2 troops from Research Station, and we're gonna wait to see how many troops Yuna deploys at the end of her reveal turn. And depending on that, we will see if we need to deploy more troops or wait for next combat. Since Yuna decided to play no intrigues, this basically means we can deploy every single troop that we have, and as long as UNE does not have any intrigues that can beat us, we should be able to easily win this combat. And the best part is, we drew rapid mobilization from Carthage, so we know she doesn't have it. And we surprisingly take this combat down with just 17 strength and no intrigues used. Now it comes down to endgames to see if anybody has 10 or more. They don't, and we take first place.